Hey, welcome. Today we'll talk about psychological shit and specifically about the book from Oxford University about the psychology of competition. Yeah, it sounds intense, I know, but stick with me. I'm gonna break it down like we're chilling after school, talking about life, school, gaming, and even your subtle sibling always trying to one up you. So grab your snack, kick back, and let's go into it. So it's gonna be like a book review, but in very specific, practical way, like a key takeaways. So what's this book really about? At first glance, it looks like a giant academic brick, 688 pages of pure psychology and research. But deep down, it's a map why we compete, when we compete, and how that competition messes with or motivates our minds. Here's what's wild: competition isn't just about sports or grades or why or who wins Mario Kart. Nope. It's in our friendships, our Instagram posts, our family dinners, even when we try not to compare ourselves. So even when we're not flexing, it's about competition. And it's everywhere. And this book, it teaches us how to spot it and use it to our advantage. Okay, let me tell you about a few game-changing ideas from this book, and more importantly, how they hit real life. First one, let's talk about the rival effect from this book, why competition gets personal. One section of the book talks about how we more competitive with the people like us. Think about it. If you're in a class, who do you compare your test score with? Usually it's the person who's kinda at your level, right? Not the one who always scores 100%, and not the one who's barely passing. So, what's the real life tip based on this knowledge? Stop obsessing over people just like you. Seriously, that's one friend who always posts better outfits, gets the same grades, is in the same sports team. They're not your enemy, but your brain might trick you into thinking they are. So, what to do? Flip it. Use their success as a mirror, not a measure. Instead of thinking I need to beat them, ask what are they doing that's working for them? Maybe they study with music or they organize their time better. Learn, do not hate. In other words, think about like when you're comparing yourself with someone, think about it in a very pragmatical, not emotional way, in order to see practically what they're doing, and what and how this allow them to compete, to be better, to be a top G. And yeah, instead of emotional thinking like and being envy is just stupid. Just observe them, what they do, how they do, when they do, and they all, the same human, but they doing things different way, and all you have to do just learn from them. Okay, the next tip from this book going to be about upward and downward comparison. Choose your ladder wisely. Another section drops a bomb. How you compare yourself affects your motivation. Comparing up to someone better can inspire you or crush your confidence. It's like, two extremes, two edges. Comparing down to someone struggling can boost your ego or make you lazy. Yeah, and what does most people do? I think that they think good about themselves because they comparing most of the time themselves with the people who dumber than them, or less rich or more poor than them, and they feel good, and they don't need another motivation because for themselves they're already on the top level. So what's the real life tip? Balance your comparisons. You need both. If you always look up to people way ahead, you might burn out or feel like a failure. But if you only compare down, you will plateau. So try this. Keep a role model list. In other words, people who are a bit better than you, not perfect, and no one's perfect, but it's just people. Even if we talk about the most, like the richest people, the smartest people, we just see at the end of the day just their cover, because people share just their advantages. No one share about their weaknesses, and especially with these social medias, it makes this this fake virtual reality where people almost ideal, and they are having ideal life, but we gotta assess whatever information we're getting critically, and if you don't see some fucked up things, it doesn't mean that there's no fucked up things. Okay, in other words, just a step ahead. No one's perfect. That way you stay motivated without freaking out. Okay, the next tip from this book gonna be about competitive arousal, why you get hype or freeze in a challenge. This one hit hard. The book explains that in a competitive setting, our body releases adrenaline, which can either make us super sharp or totally shut us down. Ever bomb a quiz you knew cold just because you were stressed, or win a game you were not even supposed to? That's a competitive arousal in action. So what helps? Practicing under pressure, not just practicing stuff, but recreating stress. Like if you got a speech, don't just read it alone. Don't do it in front of a mirror, then a friend, then record yourself. By the time the real thing hits you, your brain's like, being here, let's roll. In other words, you have to practice. You have to, every day you have to have some little bit amount of stress. It's not about, black and white thinking. It's like, it's either no stress, or it's gonna be fucking 200% stress when you, I don't know, jumping from a helicopter and making public speech. No, you gotta approach a healthy level of stress every day. In other words, a little bit pushing the boundaries, try new, challenge yourself to be okay when it's not okay, and after a while, it is like a snowball, can make your skills better. Okay, the next tip from this book about zero-sum thinking. When winning feels like someone else has to lose. This one was a huge light bulb moment. The book explains how we often fall into the zero-sum thinking. If I win, you lose. If you win, I lose. But most of life doesn't work like that. In group projects, for example, helping your teammate shine actually make you look better too. Same with friendships. Your friend getting attention doesn't mean you're invisible. The spotlight can move without taking yours away. So what's the tip you can ask? Look for win-win moments. Compliment someone, share your ideas instead of keeping it secret. A surprising twist. Being generous makes people see you as a leader, not a pushover. And again, instead of emotional thinking, try to think more logically. Okay, the next tip is about self-handicapping. Self-handicapping. My fucking broken English. Okay, let's call it self-handicapping. Why we sabotage ourselves before the game even starts. This one is real. When someone's like, ooh, I didn't even study, and then they do bad, and say, see, I told you. That's self-handicapping. We protect our ego by blaming our outside stuff instead of just giving our best. Or another term, I guess, also fits with this idea. Self-fulfillment, fortune, something like this. When people say things constantly and that shit really happening. So how do you fight this? Be brave enough to care. Caring is not a cringe, it's a courageous. If you care and fail, yeah, it will sting, but it also means you actually tried, which puts you ahead of most people already. So next time you attempted to slack off just so you have an excuse, don't go all in 100%. And again, it's all about resilience, and it's all about understanding that it's always going to be some uncertainty, some fucked up things, mistakes, and that's okay. The point is recover quickly from your mistakes, understand what you have to fix, and keep going, because it's actual opposite. People get success just because they do as much possible mistakes without, of course, repeating the same mistake. Okay, the next one gonna be about gamification of life from this book. In other words, turn boring into battle. The editors talk a lot about how competition doesn't have to be toxic. In fact, use it right. It's a powerful motivator, and one way to use it: gamify your life. Set tiny daily goals, track streaks, make a challenge with a friend like who gets up earlier this week, or who reads 20 minutes a day, or who can piss for 30 minutes. No. Suddenly brushing your teeth on time or finishing homework feels like you're winning a quest. You know, because sometimes if nothing motivates you, this kind of gamification or competition mode gives you fuel, and all you have to do just speak to your friend if you got the same values. Let's do this, and compare our results, and in a still friendly manner, but you competing with each other in order to be more productive, but without being envy to each other. Apps like Habitica for Forest, or just using emojis in your notes app can make your day feel like a scoreboard. Okay, and last tip from this book gonna be about status. That status isn't just fame; it's how you see yourself. One of the editors, Andrew Elliott, dives into how status isn't about fame or followers, it's about how we rank ourselves in our head. If you feel you're constantly behind, that stress will mess with your confidence and decisions. How to fix? Don't just measure what others can see. Track stuff you care about. How much better you're sleeping, how kind you were to someone, how you handle a bad day without snapping. Let internal wins count. You don't need applause for everyday achievement, just that quite good job in your own brain. So, what's the final thought about this book? It's not just for psych majors or professors, it's for anyone who ever asked, why do I feel weird when my friend wins something? Why do I mess up under pressure? Why do I need to be the best at something, even when no one's watching? It gives you tools, not cheesy quotes, a real stuff backed by research. And when you start seeing competition as a lens, something to use and not fear, you gain control. You stop being yanked around by comparison and pressure, and instead start saying, okay, now I know what's happening, let's play. That's all for today. Whether you're chasing goals, fighting comparison monsters, or just trying to understand why school sometimes feels like a war zone, you got this. And if you want to read this book yourself, just take it slow. It's thick but full of gold. You don't have to read all 688 pages to change how you think. Sometimes one chapter is enough to spark something. So, catch you next time, and remember, compete smart, not scared. And if you like it, this audio, video, whatever fuck how you can call it, thumbs up, subscribe, and see you next time.